We went out to the Duratrigas dig open day yesterday. It was really good. Great tours, good food, good beer, nice company. Back to work today. We are off to, where are we going? Verwood first, do a little hedge trimming, and then the person that lives there is going to meet us at her flat in Leon Solent, because we're clearing out a garage there, because we've got the big truck. There you go. She wants us to clear out the flat and take some stuff back to hers in Verwood and dispose of the rest of it. So there'll be some stuff going on free cycle, anything that keeps the bill down, keeps the waste bill down. So yeah, a bit of a jolly today. We are working, we've just got to drive out to the other side of Portsmouth. Beautiful day though, look at it, absolutely amazing today. Right, see you later. So some of you may remember this one. I'll post a photo of what it looks like with all the phlox in flower before the lavenders come in. It's looking great now with the lavenders. We're starting to work out what does well under these two great big oak trees. Lavender and phlox do great at the front here. We think that red hot poker, I think I'm going to move this in the spring, and actually we've got a space for it right over here. So if I pull this sedge out, we've got a space. I can make a space in the phlox here for it, and it'll be in full sun then. But we're starting to realise that when the phlox goes over, this is where all previous year's spent tulip bulbs go, and that puts on quite a good show early in the spring. There's a little iris coming up there as well. But at the moment it's just a cat toilet, so we're going to have to start planting some things in here. And we've realised that the space under here as well, the phlox is lovely, and we trim it around the stepping stones through here. But it's a bit bare now, it's just green. So we've got some geraniums, various different geraniums. The aqualegias are just going over. We've got Alchemilla mollis in here, which springs up all over the place and fills in the edge of the path. So we'll probably spread some of that around. We're going to have a think about what goes in this bit. Some woodland plants under here, I think, that aren't going to mind the shade and be a little more drought tolerant, because obviously the trees suck up a hell of a load of water. So it's something to think about in the autumn, I think, when we start come in here and move this, trim this down and move it. I think it'll do much better over there. And we've got a little self-seeded conifer there, not conifer, sorry, fir tree. But we're going to keep that small and almost make it into a bonsai. Yucca doing all right there as well. A little bit of black fly on it, but that's good food for the ladybirds. That Calycarpus isn't doing great there. Just getting a bit closer so you can see it. She's not doing great. She's a bit, maybe I need to give her a bit of a mulch. I did improve the soil, but probably needs a bit more around the base to hold some moisture. Yeah, it's wilting a bit, and I don't think it's going to keep its flowers this year either. It should keep some lovely purple little berries all over the winter, right into the spring. I've got one at home that does, but this one, I don't know if it doesn't like full sun. Maybe we'll swap it and we'll move it over to where in the shade over here. Give it its last hurrah over there and see if it does better. Anyway, that's the hedges all cut, nice and trim. Over that side as well. Have a little coffee break and then off to drive to Portsmouth. Alright, there we go, that's that all loaded up. New rules mean we've got to have a net over anything on the back, but that's quite handy because we're going along the motorway. We're going to put a couple more ratchets over the top here just to make sure everything's held down. But here we go, so we've got a week of finding new homes for all this stuff, try and save as much from landfill as we can, because we like to be green. But Free Cycle's going to have a lot of stuff put on tonight, and we just got to drive home. we found. And it's right behind a nursery, so I get to go plant shopping as well. So this is Titchfield Abbey. I don't know enough about it, but I'm guessing it's seized and sold off by Henry VIII, and then the Lady Chapel end of the monastery is then demolished and used to rebuild this. So those are rebuilt Tudor, late Tudor towers on the footprint of the central tower in the nave, and then this is part of the nave, reused and had new windows put through it. You see the red brick there? And there's the same on the other side. We'll go around to have a look at that. This is going through to the cloister, which again, retained by the manor house as a little garden feature. Don't know how much of this was kept. This looks quite modern. Some beautiful tiles here. I don't think they're in situ. They look like they've been salvaged and put back in here for display purposes. Although that said, they might be in situ ones. Yeah, they might have been reused and relaid for the manor house. There we go. Oh, here we go. Oh, perhaps it is reusing a medieval footprint actually, because it's circular inside, but it's square outside, or octagonal outside, so I think they've been refaced. Yeah, I would say these are probably medieval cores, and then they've just been refaced to make them look octagonal and more in keeping with the Tudor style of the building. And that's the central tower. So that would have been originally open right up to the belfry. It's been infilled. And then this goes through to the lower end of the nave, where there would have been a pair of big doors on that end of it, right where that fireplace is. You can see all that's been rebuilt with Tudor masonry and Tudor stone, Tudor bricks. But there's elements in here of, if you know what you're looking for, you can spot the old build. If you look up there, they've whacked a great big chimney up through the tower. And can you see the original roofline? So that would have been the original roofline of the nave when it was a monastery. And of course all this would have been plastered over. You'd have had a great hall up here probably. Actually, the great hall was probably the other side. So there's accommodation blocks on this side. Kitchen down here with a great big fireplace. And here there's elements still of a tower on this end. You can see the stairs going through there. So this is a spiral staircase built into the wall. So it's a flipping thick wall, obviously, to support this end of the nave, but enough to get a spiral staircase through it, and it runs right up. But that column that's part of the original monastery would have been visible in this room. When it was all plastered out, that column would have been visible. Wow. What a place to make your home from. Amazing. Anyway, we thought this was a good place to stop and have our lunch, so we're going to find a spot in the shade, have a bite to eat. So I'm out in the cloister, or what would have been the cloister for the monastery, and there's Tudor fireplaces inserted into the wall, so I'm actually wondering if this was an accommodation block. Yeah, because if we look there, there's a Tudor bay window. So this was probably a single-storey accommodation block. In fact, that building going off that way looks like it's the original roof height. So they converted this into a common... Oh no, look, there's another fireplace up there as well. Oh, so maybe it was 2-storey at this end at least, and then dropping down to 1-storey that end, but there are fireplaces dotted all the way along, so I think there's nice little rooms along here on the ground floor. Yeah, because there's remnants of a fireplace arch. There you go. Looking out onto a nicely, probably a parterre in the courtyard here. What a lovely appointed room, straight onto the garden. Very nice. Just in case you can't make the stairs. Here's some more tiles. These ones do look like they've been relaid because they're sat on concrete. They are beautiful. I'm guessing these would have been pulled out of the original nave of the church and relaid in here. Let's see what the board says. So this little wall that runs all the way around, this one here, this would have had columns supporting a colonnade roof over this, so you'd been able to walk all the way around without getting wet. More tiles here. Don't know what this little room is here for. So let's see if this says. Oh no, it just says about the tiles and how they're made. But it's a funny little room here. Not sure what that is. Maybe it's part of, it looks like there's an octagonal pillar on each side of it. So maybe this is the entrance to the cloister. Oh, here we go. Entry to Freighter Great Hall of Place House. Oh, so along this end of the cloister would have been the refectory. Okay, that makes more sense. And that's now in private hands behind here. So there's more of the abbey going off behind here as well. Yeah, because if we look at this end, this projection would have supported a staircase inside, some of which probably survives on the inside of it. Oh, there's our well. Can't really see much down there. But yeah, that doorway would have gone through to a big refectory, probably with an undercroft, and then a great big open hallway above it. And then somewhere here, out this side, we should have the remains of a chapter house. I'm going to suggest that this is probably it. Yeah, because look, we've got a blocked up doorway there, big blocked up doorway. 2 windows either side of it. Well, that's a Tudor insert, that window, into a medieval one. And these 4 pillar bases. So that would be the chapter house, which is in the right place, off the cloister. And then again, this one goes through, what are we looking at? Oh, the vault. Ah, so we would have had a doorway through here to get to an undercroft, and that's where the monks would have kept all their beer. Oh, and even something there actually, that might be an entrance to a lower staircase, because it's filled in with Tudor brickwork. Yeah, there's a lot to unpick here. Anyway, right, lunchtime. See you later. You see the space in the wall where all the stones for the staircase have been pulled out. And actually, it looks like the original stones were pulled out and a wooden one's been inserted, because those gaps are much smaller. Quite thin, those spaces. Yeah. So at the end of the nave, there's a little staircase we can actually use, which goes up to an upper garden. So actually, this whole end of the building, the ground outside is much higher. And I'm wondering if that's because it's filled up with rubble, or if it was always higher. Let's see if there's any indication on the outside of the building. Oh, there you go, there's continuation of the staircase going up, which you can't actually get to, but this hole's been pierced through. You see by the Tudor brick filling in that side of it, and a rubble above us. But yeah, that would continue up. So this is what you'd have in every single tower, stone staircase. But let's have a look on the outside here and see if there's any. No, there's no indication here at all. It's completely been knocked out and rebuilt. There would have been a great big archway in the centre there, and then perhaps this stonework either side there and there is original. But all the stonework that supported a great big window on this end has gone. But the original ground level is there actually, so yeah, all the ground, all this part is completely re-deposited. Again, I wonder if this is an area where all the rubble from redeveloping this structure was just put. There's a few apple trees in it, which is quite nice. Lovely space for a garden.